Have you ever been around somebody who thinks out loud? You might be one of those people. Nothing wrong with that. But did you know that there are some people who would never consider doing that? They would only say something out loud after it's been completely thought through. Nothing wrong with that either. So how do we appropriately respond to somebody when they share an idea? Here's a clue. 3 simple words. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's get into it. Welcome to Leadership on the Run. Today's leadership tool is called Provisional Plan Promise. Super simple, but it has the power to eliminate unnecessary drama, misalignment, and performance issues on your team. It even works great at home. How we communicate and why we're communicating needs clarity, so the people we're communicating with can respond appropriately. Here's what each of the 3 words mean. Provisional just means you're thinking out loud. You're running an idea by a person or a group of people to see how they respond to it. You're trying to gauge whether your idea is any good or not. When we're in the provisional phase, we might invite collaboration, brainstorming, or further ideation on the concept. It may or may not happen, or even go any further than this initial conversation. Plan means we put some real thought into this idea. And unless something really bad happens, we're likely to move in this direction. There's still time for adjustment. So now's the time to speak up if you see any real roadblocks ahead. Promise is one we need to be really careful with. When you make a promise, you're saying that this is a thing that's going to happen. If it doesn't, you're undermining your integrity and influence, and it will likely impact your team's performance at some point. Here's a great example from one of the founders of Giant. His daughter had asked him if he was going to be able to come to her Christmas concert, and he said that he was, and that he had put it on his calendar. And she asked, "Daddy, is this provisional plan or promise?" And he said, "Well, it's a plan." And she was a little dismayed because she was wondering why it wasn't a promise. He indicated that he reserves the word promise only for those things where he can guarantee the outcome. So, do I love you? Will I always love you? That's a promise. Can I come to the Christmas concert? It's a plan. This tool can work from either side of the conversation. For example, a person can say, "This is provisional," and then go ahead and lay out their idea for the team. If they don't clarify up front, the team can ask the question, is this provisional, plan, or promise? And knowing the answer to that question completely changes the way the team will engage. Every one of us has tendencies as to how we communicate an idea. As I said in the intro, some people think out loud, while others would never consider doing such a thing. And knowing your tendency is very helpful in how we communicate with each other. A great way to learn about your tendencies is to take the 5 Voices assessment. It's free, and you can get there by clicking on the QR code on your screen. Or I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description below. At least that's the plan. I'd love to hear from you on this topic. Have you ever taken the initiative and done a bunch of work on something your boss was talking about, only to find out a couple weeks later that he or she never had any intentions of moving forward? Or maybe just the opposite. You've communicated something to your team and nobody seems to be doing anything about it, and you wonder why. And it may be that you didn't clarify, and what you meant to be a plan, they had assumed was just provisional. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever experienced this kind of misalignment on your team. And while you're at it, I'd love to hear what you think about this concept of bringing clarity through the provisional plan promise tool. So for those of you who have come along for the run, as you can see, I've run out of miles. So I'm walking it home. Skipped last week's video because we were in Biloxi for the Mississippi Gulf Coast Marathon. So the burning question, after 18 weeks of the Hanson Marathon method, did I make my goal of 3:20? No, but I did shave off almost 3.5 minutes from my best time from 42 years ago. So I'll take it. I'm doing a couple of weeks of recovery running before I start my next training block for the Boston Marathon. And even though I was able to PR with the Hanson plan, I'm not sure it's the plan that got me there. Surely a controversial statement to make. And I know that the tons of mileage from that plan surely had an influence, but even with that, I think I'm going to go back to a modified Hal Higdon plan. So stay with me and let's see how that works out for the Boston Marathon. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep moving. Remember, no one gets better by accident. Great leaders are intentional.